Hey friends and family, this is Perry, the Executive Director of Mark 12 Ministry. I just want to take a few minutes and talk to you about where we are with the White Flag Shelter, and then also kind of tell you what we're doing and what our plan is going forward through the rest of this winter. First, many of you may not even know the history of the White Flag Shelter. And so what's interesting to think is that around December of 2018, a few concerned citizens and government officials and a few different organizations got together and talked about planning a White Flag Shelter. They had a hard time trying to find out where to locate this shelter, and it wasn't until January 9th when they hosted one of their follow-up meetings at Mercy Hill Church that it was decided that Mercy Hill Church would be the place that we hosted the White Flag Shelter. And so from that was born the ministry of Mark 12. And so during that first winter of January 2019 through March of 2019, Mercy Hill hosted the White Flag Shelter, and the beginnings of Mark 12 was sprouting from that. After that shelter, Mark 12 began looking for ways that we could help the community through community meals, by providing food to those in need, and also continuing our mentoring that we had started that first winter. We also began to plan for the winter of 2019 and 2020. So we started to announce that in October of 2019, and we had a great outpouring. We had planned to open the shelter the week before Thanksgiving in 2019, but because of the weather and because of your support and the volunteers, we were able to open a full week early on November 12th of 2019. So 96 nights later and over 3,000 volunteer hours, we had a very successful shelter. We started our Pathway Home program, which was a mentor programming that helped people to get back on their feet. And out of the 20 participants, we had 100% success in our first rollout in that program. We helped 65 people last winter, and we continue to stay connected with many of them today. What are we doing right now, and what have we done since the shelter closed last April? Well, we've been looking for a facility. See, we were starting to wrap up right as COVID was starting to ramp up. And unfortunately, the impact of the coronavirus has been extensive. And so we've not been able to find a facility yet. And so that's where we're at with the shelter this year. Unfortunately, Mercy Hill, the church, even though they would love to have us have the shelter in the church and they host again, just isn't big enough to facilitate all the restrictions that we have as far as the social distancing, having a place where we can actually quarantine someone if they have a fever or are symptomatic, and also the cleanliness that would go into preparing it to continue to be a dual purpose facility, first a church and then second a shelter. And so although the members of Mercy Hill lovingly wanted to have that be the shelter again this year, it was decided with our board that that would just not be possible. And so we continue to search for a larger facility where we can meet all the state requirements. I've been in touch with the state on several occasions, the Department of Health. I've also been in touch with county and local officials to try to find out the best way that we can facilitate a shelter this winter. Now, it's broken my heart that we've not been able to open up yet. I know there's been very many evenings already that the temperature's been under 35, and we usually would have been operating during that time frame. We also have heard from the community that there's lots of concern about what is our homeless doing during this season, especially with the coronavirus. And I will tell you, if you didn't have a chance to see my interview with WLKY, the one thing that I brought up, which is still one of my biggest concerns, is if one of our neighbors in the community gets coronavirus and they don't have a place to quarantine, but they need a place to stay warm, that they would find themselves going to our local grocery stores and shopping areas to stay warm and unknowingly spreading the virus. I want to make sure that we give them a place to quarantine and to be healthy so that we can help them get back to health so that they can get back on their feet. And so that's what my desire is. So I'm asking that we have a town hall meeting. Now, it's not going to be in a hall because of our current environment. It's actually going to be in the parking lot that's directly across from Mercy Hill Church, where we have the farmers market in the summer. And that meeting is going to be on Wednesday, December 16th. So mark your calendars. It's not this Wednesday coming up. It's next Wednesday. We're going to have a meeting at 5 o'clock. And I'm going to invite all the local members of the city council and the magistrate, and as well as our county officials, to come and attend, and also anyone who is interested in coming up with a plan on how we can host a White Flag shelter this winter and be safe, healthy, and successful with helping the people that are in need in our community. I will say that our phone continues to ring off the hook for many different needs, whether it be immediate housing, whether it may mean helping with rent that is back due, or a water bill that's about ready to be turned off. So during this meeting, I'll be also sharing some of the needs the community has and ways that you might be able to plug in to help, and that's without even volunteering. But we also still need volunteers. What we've been doing since the shelter closed this last April has not been just looking for a facility. During the summertime, many of the pantries and local food banks closed down because of the pandemic. That's where we saw an opportunity to step in. We provided over 3,000 meals to 116 families this summer, providing food boxes that would feed a family of 4 through an entire week. And we delivered those to people that were shut in, and we also had a pickup stationed at Mercy Hill Church. Now, that's not the only thing we've done. We've continued our mentoring and coming alongside those that are continuing to try to improve their situation and to sustain housing and being successful in the workforce. We'll continue that mentoring, but what we need now more than ever is more mentors. More people that can come alongside these individuals and live life with them, to help them in a way that's discipling and sharing the gospel, but also in practical ways that they can continue to beat their past struggles and stay successful in their current journey. And so, if you're interested in volunteering, if you're interested in finding out more about Mark 12 and what we're doing, make sure to check out mark12.org, our website, or follow us on Facebook. Also, if you have an opportunity, I beg that you show up Wednesday the 16th at 5 o'clock in the parking lot where we have the farmers market that's right across the street from Mercy Hill, where we'll have a chance to come together as a community and have a real discussion about how we can help those in need. We'll make sure that social distancing is made mandatory and that people have masks on so everyone can be safe and healthy. But we need to have the conversation. And the best way to have that conversation is together as a community, to show our support for a shelter and also our desire to help our neighbors who are in need and to love on them. It's always been Mark 12's desire and our prayer that we would open the first full-time, full-service shelter in Bullitt County. One that would help all people of all different backgrounds and of all different struggles, but help them get on the right path, a pathway home. A home that's not just a temporary situation, but one that's sustainable so that we can break the cycle of poverty and addiction that plagues our community right now. And so this is the time that we put the stake in the ground. We draw the line in the sand, and we come together as a community and show that our local officials that as Shepherdsville and as Bullitt County, we want to put a stop to poverty and homelessness in our community. And how we're going to do that is by coming together as a community. Right now, Bullitt County is the only county surrounding Jefferson County and Louisville that doesn't have a full-time homeless shelter and doesn't provide the type of resources that other counties do. Mark 12's prayer and desire is to provide those resources. So come out, show your support, and help us change the direction of our community. Again, thanks for taking time to listening to where we're at and being concerned and wanting to love on our neighbors. And thanks for your support of Mark 12 Ministry. God bless.